What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on Pure Panorama. We gotta kick it off with a couple announcements. As always, don't forget about the big tax return sale at Diesel Auto Power that ends on April 30th. Let those guys know that Josh at Pure Panorama sent you and they will take care of you. Make sure you get everything that you need. This is a good opportunity to save some money on injectors, turbo, parts that your truck needs for this spring and summer. So definitely go and take advantage of that. We got a phone call in the middle of our announcements. Sorry about that, guys, but if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, definitely hop on over there. Give me a follow at Pure Panorama 19. I would greatly appreciate it. And you will also be able to see some behind the scenes stuff that the channel doesn't see right away. Everybody on Instagram gets to see that stuff first, so get over there, give me a follow at Pure Panorama 19. And lastly, for now, don't forget we have all the links in the video description for parts and tools that we use here at the garage, on the truck, all that stuff you guys always ask me about. I have it linked up down below for your convenience. We also have links to Amsoil products. If you guys run Amsoil and you need more, you can get it down there in the description. Or if you're looking to give it a shot and try it out to see how it works for you and your truck, definitely check out those links or let me know. We can get an order placed for you. As for this video though, I want to go over a couple of things between Sexy Silver here and Big Red and the differences between them, aside from the obvious, one being the 5.9 Magnum gas engine and then the other being the 5.9 Cummins diesel engine. There are a couple of things that are different, so let's get into it, shall we? The first difference being the steering linkage up here in the front. This is underneath the front of my truck, which is a 2001 model, and this has what is called Y steering. So you can see that the passenger wheel actually runs right up to our pitman arm. The driver's side runs over and then ties into the passenger side. So our steering linkages run off of each tire and then connect together in the middle. Whereas if we get down here and we look underneath this, which is a 99 model, this actually has what's called T-steering. And I've made a video on this in the past, kind of explaining how these are set up, and now this is a perfect example to be able to show you. But the T-steering basically ties both of your wheels together with one linkage, and then you have a separate one that runs up to your pitman arm. Whereas on my truck, you have an individual linkage off of each wheel that tie together in the middle. So you just saw how the T-steering ties both of your wheels together, and then you have that separate linkage that runs up to your pitman arm. Now you can see where the Y steering actually has your one linkage that runs off your passenger wheel up to your pitman arm, and then you have your other linkage that runs from your driver's side over to your linkage that runs to the pitman arm off the passenger side, and that's where they tie in together. So there's your difference between T steering and Y steering. The 99 having the heavy duty steering has that T steering, and my 2001 not with the heavy duty steering has the Y steering. And one thing I want to mention is that you can also upgrade the steering components on your truck. So my truck, for example, if I wanted to upgrade from the Y steering, I could go and do that and change from Y over to the T style steering. And that's not just the difference between gas and diesel. That would actually be the same setup if you had a 99 Cummins. You'd have that same steering style setup underneath it. That is a difference between the years of the trucks and designs that they had for those different years. One thing I want to look at with you guys though is underneath the hoods of each of these trucks. This will be a difference between gas and diesel and just how much room there is under the hoods of each of these trucks. So this is under the hood of my 2001 24 valve Cummins, and right off the bat you can see that there's quite a bit of stuff underneath here. And to be honest, this is actually a pretty simplistic design underneath the hood of a diesel truck. Compared to if you were to have a powerstroke or a duramax, things would be a little bit more crammed and not quite as open as this, but yet there's still a good bit of stuff under here. But this whole layout underneath the hood is what makes the Cummins platform such a good entry-level truck for somebody looking to get into the diesel world of trucks, because they are far more simplistic and easier to learn and work on if you are new to the diesel game. But just taking a look at it, we have the Hydro Boost in the master cylinder crammed over here with all of our brake stuff. We have one battery and a rat's nest of wires that I need to desperately clean up, hopefully this summer, because it drives me nuts looking at it. Over here on the other side, we have our other battery. We don't have the air intake on there right now. We have that off because we were looking at a couple of different things. But typically typically there would be an air intake right up here, and this side you got the turbo, the engine, which stretches from the firewall basically right up to the nose of the truck. You have this nice big radiator right here. So the cooling system on the Cummins is quite a bit different than the cooling system on the gas truck. The radiator is about twice the size of the one that is on the 5.9 Magnum, sitting right over there. Then in front of that you have the intercooler and your condenser and everything else, your coolers. So as you can see, there is quite a bit of stuff strategically placed underneath here in this engine bay to make this truck operate properly and function the way that it needs to. Now if we pop the hood on the old 99, look at the difference underneath this hood, boys. You can see obviously the 5.9 360 Magnum is quite a bit smaller than the 5.9 Cummins engine. We obviously only have the one battery as opposed to a second battery because you don't need two batteries on this, whereas on the Cummins truck you need both batteries to power up all the things like the grid heater and everything else it takes to get that Cummins engine cranked up and running. No need for a big intake horn here with charge pipes coming down because as you can see, we don't have our intercooler. Everything is just far more opened up. You can see too that the radiator is not quite as wide. It's not as long as the one in the Cummins. So it ends roughly about where this hood stop is. And again, on the driver's side where this hood stop is. But if we look at the Cummins, it actually goes past the hood stops on both sides of the truck, and get a good look at the thickness of the radiator in the Cummins. Look at how thick that is, and now get a look at how thick the radiator is in the 5.9 Magnum. It's about half the thickness of the cooling system on our Cummins. Look at the size of the fan shroud on this thing too. Obviously, because the fan isn't almost pressed right up against the back of the radiator, it's way back here on the front of this gas engine, whereas the Cummins inline 6 literally stretches from the firewall up here to just behind the radiator. This is just a short, small, tiny little engine, and honestly, it has no balls either. It really takes a lot to get this thing up and moving compared to my truck, but that's for another video. You can see the air intake does come in the same area on both trucks. Mine comes in over here in the passenger side fender, but this one runs straight to the intake plenum and into the engine, where mine runs into the turbocharger and then down through the charge pipes, the hot side pipe, through the intercooler up here, back up through the intake horn and into the engine. What are those things right there, boys? Are those spark plugs? What do those things do? That is right though, 8 cylinders, 8 spark plugs for this. You got cap and rotor and all that stuff on the back side over here. So if you did want to try and bump a little bit more power out of this thing, you could also put larger plug wires on it, make sure you put good plugs in it, and then mess with the distributor cap and rotor and turning that and whatnot, and you could bump the timing just a wee bit on these engines, which would give it a little bit more power. There are throttle body spacers and different intakes. There's some stuff that you can do, and I believe they actually do make tuners for these as well. I did actually have this set up in my 1500 half ton with the 5-inch lift. There are videos of that back way back on the channel if you guys want to see what that truck looked like, and that did have an intake and plugs and wires, throttle body spacer, which really didn't do much other than make it kind of whistle. But we're getting off topic right now. It just amazes me to pop the hood on this and see actually how much space there is to get up in here and work. And this whole time I thought it was easy to get underneath the hood of my truck and work on it and get to things and replace it, but actually it's a little harder in some instances to get to certain stuff and replace, where it would be a little easier to get to those same things on this truck. But then again, on this truck, it's a little harder to get to certain things than it would be to get to on my truck. So they both have their ups and downs. For example, I would much rather change the exhaust manifold on my truck and the oil filter on my truck rather than having to do the oil filter or exhaust manifolds on this truck. At least I can reach my oil filter from right up here, and doing an oil change is very simple. Granted, the oil filter is right down there on this, so you got to go down there to pop the plug out of the oil pan anyways, so you get to the oil filter right there. But still, I would much rather do the oil change on my truck than on this one. And definitely the exhaust manifold. I only got one that I have to worry about right up here along the side of the engine, as opposed to one here and then another one buried down in there. But the power steering pump and reservoir are all located basically right in the same location, so they actually do have some things located in the same spots. Granted, it's a different engine and a different design, but there's your look underneath the hood of both trucks and the differences between the two engines. Another difference between these two trucks here is that the 99 silver truck actually has the towing package on it, which gives it a rear sway bar in the back of the truck, and also it gives it that little storage compartment under the rear seat, whereas my truck does not have that towing package, so it does not have the rear sway bar stabilizer in the back, nor does it have the little storage thing under the back seat, which I've always wanted because I constantly have stuff floating around in the back of my truck, and it drives me nuts. No matter how much stuff I try to stuff up underneath the back seat, it always comes down onto the back of the floor in the cab, and it drives me absolutely insane. So I may actually end up buying one of those underseat storage units that came with the trucks with the towing setup on them. I don't know why they only put them in those trucks. They should have included them in all the trucks, but to my understanding, only the trucks with the tow packages on them got those storage units under the back seats. But I feel like that would have been a good option to include in all the trucks, whether they had a towing package or not. So there's a couple differences between the 99 and the 2001 second gen Dodge trucks. A couple of the differences being because it's a gas versus diesel truck, and a couple of them being because one of them is a 99 and the other is a 2001, and is different options offered for different years, and the other one being different packages on the truck, the tow package versus a non-tow package, from my understanding anyways. You know we love our second gens here on the channel. I know all you guys love your second gens as well. But anyways, that is going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing some of the differences between the two, and just the difference in the amount of space underneath the hoods of these. Like I said, just absolutely cool thing to look at, and blows my mind how the two different engine configurations are set up in these two trucks. Two trucks that are so similar but yet very different. Don't forget to check out those links in the video description. As always, guys, those links help the channel bring you bigger and better content. Do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button on your way out. If you are new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn it from red to gray, turn on those post notifications so you never miss a new upload, and I will hopefully see you guys soon with another new video. See ya!